So while the IDEA does require certain people to be at the IEP team, the Individualized Education Program team, most notably the parents, certain educators and administrators, and when appropriate, the child, even though those are the requirements, the most recent version of the IDEA actually put into the statute some bases on which the parties, meaning both the parents and the school district, can agree to either say that a person is not attending the meeting by agreement because their subject area isn't going to be discussed, or even though their subject area is going to be discussed, we've all agreed that this person can be excused from attendance, and if that happens, there are specific provisions of what has to happen. It's kind of tricky, so I think it's important to know the exact language of the statute. The IDEA 2004 says that an individual does not have to attend the IEP team meeting in whole or in part if the parent of a child with a disability and the local educational agency agree that the attendance of such member is not necessary because the member's area of the curriculum or related service is not being modified or discussed in the meeting. In addition, a member of the IEP team may be excused from attending an IEP meeting in whole or in part when the meeting involves a modification to or discussion of the member's area of the curriculum or related services if the parent and the local educational agency consent to the excusal, and the member submits in writing to the parent and the IEP team input into the development of the IEP prior to the meeting.
That's a
lot.
mouthful and a half.
That's a lot.
But to simplify, in the real world, let me give some examples of how that all plays out.
Right.
I've seen so many times whereby perhaps there is someone from the school team who perhaps is absent because of a sickness.
Sure.
Something like that at the last minute, has to say to the parents, I'm sorry, Mrs. Smith couldn't be here today. Are you okay with that? Would you please sign permission that you release her from being at the IEP team meeting?
Right.
Another example might be that a person who is at the meeting needs to leave the meeting early. Perhaps they have to get back to their class or something else like that.
Right.
Now, so often, and it just happened to me the other day, where someone asked if they could leave the meeting because they had to get back to their class. And while I certainly appreciate that situation, we really needed that person to be at the meeting to discuss a certain issue. So I said, if you don't mind, we're more than happy to release you from the meeting, but we really need you to discuss this next subject for the next 5 minutes. And the person was happy to stay for that length of time. And then we released them from the meeting, or gave permission for them to be released.
Those are great real world examples. Here are the two key pieces to this provision of the most recent version of the IDEA that we have that I think parents have to know. One, it has to be done in writing. You have to consent to this in writing.
Right.
These days, since it's been a while, most school districts have a standard form that they'll ask a parent to sign if they want to excuse the attendance of a particular IEP team member. But it has to be done in writing. And the most important thing other than that is it has to be done by mutual consent. You as a parent have to agree to it. The parent and the school district have to agree to excuse this person. And keeping in mind that if the person's subject area is going to be discussed anyway, that person has to, in writing prior to the IEP team meeting, provide input into the development of the IEP. So it's not just a matter of we've excused that person and we don't have to talk about anything having to do with it. If that subject area is going to be discussed, then you need to have that input. So if you're not comfortable with it, and again, those awkward situations where you're sitting there, you've been preparing for this meeting for weeks, maybe you took off of work, you're sitting and you're all anxious about what's going to happen at the meeting, and you find out that one of the really important people that you really wanted to talk about your child's program with isn't going to be there. And they give you the form. It's so hard in that moment to know whether or not you should proceed. And again, it's going to have to be made on sort of an immediate basis sometimes. But I would just say, if you genuinely do not believe that this IEP meeting is going to be productive or that you can meaningfully participate in the development of the IEP without that person, don't bow to the pressure of everyone sitting around that room. It's, life happens, people get sick, it is what it is. But if you really feel that you're going to walk out that door and say, I don't feel like we got anything accomplished today because so-and-so wasn't there, then what you should say is, well, then we're going to have to reschedule when she can be back or he can be back.
And I think that's the important thing to know. You just need to be aware that you don't have to feel pressured if you really don't believe that that person should be excused, you can say no. And on the flip side of that, you can also be very practical about it. If for some very good reason the person can't be there and you're okay with it, sign away.
Right.